With regards to Resident Evil fan mods, there is a lot of them out there, and there are some of them that give interesting prospects to present different scenarios of what could have been regarding the storyline or the lore behind the iconic series. They do, however, give fans the ability to create some interesting ideas and to really not be bound by the limitations of development with regards to big name studios. Now, a lot of these projects often get closed down once the bigger companies become aware of them, but if you do gain access to them, they are worthwhile trying out, as they will present a different idea or a different perspective of what could have been. And if you're a fan of Resident Evil and you've been playing it for as long as even I have, you'll often wonder, with regards to all of the storyline plots, there are many gaps that could have been better catered to, and you would like to see more avenues explained in more detail to give more context surrounding situations leading up to current events within the storyline itself. Now, we may not ever know of these ideas, but at least these fan mods do give some representation of those ideas. So here we have a very interesting fan mod. It is an FPS recreation of the police station from the very early Resident Evil 2 prototype. If you've ever seen any of the magazine articles, or even in recent times with modders being able to gain access to the code from the original prototype itself, they've been trying to piece together different segments of the game so that you can play it on an emulator. And for those lucky enough to play it, will definitely get a different glimpse into what Resident Evil 2 could have been. Now, there are a lot of people out there that genuinely don't like this prototype, and they're glad that the version that we eventually got is the version that we have. And in many ways I can agree to that, but at the same time, looking back over the years when I was younger, getting to see early photographs or images of these prototypes, it did get you excited, because if you played the first Resident Evil, you were just wanting to play more or see where else the story could take you. So the prototype gave you some hope in that endeavour, really. Like Resident Evil 2 in its final release, and even with the remake in recent times, are among some of the greatest games ever made. But a lot of it wouldn't have happened except for the prototype, and a lot of elements from that prototype in question have been used in later games. But this fan mod here represents the entirety of the police station section, but from a first person perspective. And from its layout, it joins all of the intricate pieces and corridors together in a more cohesive format so that you kind of have an idea of where you're going through. And it does look very, very cool. But it also does, in many ways, give context behind the issue regarding the original development of the early prototype itself, as one of the reasons why it was scrapped originally was because they felt like everything looked the same, with the same colour tones and mute kind of atmospheric elements. And it is apparent that you can see it in this mod as well. But that's not to say that it's a bad thing. I don't genuinely think that it is. But everybody will have a different opinion on that, and that's totally fine. Each to their own, as I say. But still, I'm a fan of Resident Evil, and I do want to play these mods. So I'm definitely going to give them a go, regardless of what people think. And I know there are others out there that genuinely want to explore these concepts as well. So I'm hoping with this video it will give you an idea of what could have been. Now, this mod does allow you to explore a more modern take for its time of the RPD police station, where you're walking around very narrow corridors and hallways, and you have to find items, typical like Resident Evil, where you have to backtrack and find keys and find other items of interest in order to progress. And you will also have to contend with some of the zombie cops that are getting in the way, as you can see here. But as you explore the many corridors, if you look at the walls and the detail around, the modder has done a really good job with trying to depict some elements of detail regarding the storyline around the original Resident Evil series, where it even has screenshots and newspaper clippings that you would have seen in the first game, but tries to put a new modern spin on it, even explaining some details regarding the mansion incident with the mansion being blown up. So that in itself is really cool. It just gives a more detailed outline of the story arc. If you have managed to play any of the original fan mods, that you can play on emulators. With some of the scenes and environments, you will be familiar with some of the rooms here, with shutters opening to find new rooms, but that will also bring out other monsters and zombies in front of you. So you do have to be mindful of your surroundings. The one thing to note is that the zombies, once they see you, they will come at you very fast. They'll run at you. So that, if you're not ready for it, it will scare the hell out of you, literally. And so far from the start, you have access to a pistol and you do get a load of ammo to begin with. And I haven't spent time playing it. I haven't been able to find any other additional weapons, but I do know that the development of this prototype was cut short, so I'm not sure if everything that's here was finished in its entirety. As I was only able to get so far, I was able to find like one key to unlock an additional room, and I got a few other areas to explore, but I wasn't able to find anything beyond that to allow me to progress. So you'd spend time looking around the environment to try and figure out if there's anything there to give you any sort of clues or hints as to what to do next. And there are some pieces of information that do give some ideas, but again, you're still kind of left stumped because you don't really know what to do next, and I haven't been able to find anything else with regards to any progression that I can find online. But still, it's one of those games or mods that you really just have to experience it for yourself to really get an idea of what's going on, and for those reasons alone, I recommend that you do try this. It is very interesting and it is actually very cool, very, very atmospheric, and it will scare you. In all honesty, these fan mods are just a lot of fun to play, and like I said, if you're a fan of Resident Evil, there is a lot of them out there, and there's more of them coming to life all the time, which try to extend the universe while giving things or presenting ideas in a different perspective. So that in itself is really cool, and this one here is another one, like I said, you should try. It may not have the classic style per se, as it does use more modern graphics, but the atmosphere is definitely there. If anything, that's the one thing the creator managed to do really well, is have the atmosphere in abundance. Very eerie, and will definitely leave you curious as to wanting to know more. So if that isn't enough of an excuse to play it, I don't know what is. But regardless, I would love to know your thoughts on this. Do you find this an interesting concept? Or would you like to see more of this game being developed and taken further? And would you like to see more of the other Resident Evil fan mods that are currently out there? I will try to cover as many of them as I can over the next while, so be sure to stick around. But in the meantime, if you want to see what other horrors lurk underneath with regards to Resident Evil and even all of the other horror games that were inspired by this iconic series, then you can check out this next video that will dive behind the scenes of more of these interesting titles that will present more ways in which to scare you.